I'm
Rah!
angry about cats.
When did we all get this dumb? Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about cats.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef. Come on, man. Use your brain. The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now. Oh, yeah. It is the one, the Why I'm Angry podcast. This is the chef. I'm here in the Freestyle Man Cave studio, and pretty pumped today. We just launched last night our brand new website at whyimangry.com. Go check it out. We've got merch. We've got podcasts. You can get your podcast straight from there. Set up your RSS feed, all of that good stuff. Make sure that you're when you're out and about, you're sharing our info and just liking and sharing and all of that good stuff. That's my shameless plug. All of the proceeds from our merchandise and stuff like that goes to upgrading, getting websites, and helping us sound even better than we already do. So, getting into it here, it's just the chef today. Headlines: Ukraine goes on the offensive. A widely anticipated counteroffensive by Ukraine forces to recapture territories after 15 months of fighting might be underway. The Russian officials reported intense fighting at multiple points of the battlefront in eastern Ukraine. The efforts come weeks after protracted battle led to Ukraine ceding the most demolished city of Bakhmut. So they're basically what I read. They're attacking a few other spots in the south, maybe trying to break up some areas. There was a lot of they took out with mechanized forces today, this week, tanks. It's kind of an old school, let's go out and fight type thing, as opposed to some of the new school stuff that they've been doing with drones and all of that. So, be in prayer for that region. There's a lot of people's lives that are being affected and lost there. The Fed sues Binance. U.S. regulators charged that the cryptocurrency exchange Binance and its owners Changpeng Zhao with 13 security violations yesterday. The suit is the second to be brought against the exchange, the world's largest, in 2 months, with regulators looking to ban the company from operating in the U.S. Basically, I've seen also that this is an attack on cryptocurrencies. There's also looks like there might be a suit or some regulations coming up on Coinbase, which is an app that I've used before and works with the different traded cryptocurrencies. So, Iowa building collapses. The bodies of 3 men were reported missing following the partial collapse of a building in downtown Davenport, Iowa. They have been found. According to local police, the victims identified, they were found almost a week after the 6-story structure partially collapsed on May 28th. The cause of the collapse is not immediately known. However, work is reportedly being done, or was reportedly being done, on the brick exterior of the building. Documents reveal engineers and officials had made numerous visits to the century-old structure. In sports and entertainment and culture, the James Beard Awards were announced. Rob Ruba of Oyster in Washington, D.C. was named Outstanding Chef. And Philadelphia's Friday, Saturday, Sunday wins Outstanding Restaurant. This sounds like the East Coast version. We'll get into this a little bit later, but I think it's a travesty that yours truly did not win any James Beard Awards this year. Of course, to win a James Beard Award, you have to be practicing as a chef at the time. Prince Harry failed to appear on his first day of the civil lawsuit trial against the British tabloid. If he appears, he will be the first senior royal to testify in court in 130 years. Science and technology. Apple reveals a long-awaited virtual and augmented reality headset to debut at a price point of around $3,500. So far, this is something that's been in the works for about 8 or 9 years now. So we'll see if they actually get it out there. It's supposed to be announced at the World Developers Conference. James Webb Space Telescope detects the most distant complex organic molecules, those containing carbon atoms, observed to date. Data suggests that compounds were formed at just 1/10 the age of the current universe. Archaeological evidence suggests ancient human ancestors Homo naledi may have practiced rudimentary burial for its dead. It confirmed behavior would predate the practice of Homo sapiens by roughly 100,000 years. Business and markets. Intel shares fall 5% as Apple announces new Mac Pro computer will use homemade chips, replacing the Intel chips. I mean, obviously, they were going to use their own chips. I mean, why would they continue to use Intel chips when the M1, M2 chips are out now, and the way they use the M1, M2s, and the solid-state hard drives, it just makes it a lot faster. Crude oil prices have been up 2% after Saudi Arabia announces it will cut production by a million barrels per day. This happens every summer. As travel season goes up, Saudi Arabia decides, OPEC decides it's not going to make as many barrels or make as much oil, or release as much oil into it. I mean, that's why they call them the oil cartel. This is kind of a no news deal. Politics and world affairs. Federal investigators confirm plane that entered Washington, D.C. airspace Sunday before crashing in Virginia carried 4 people. No survivors reported. Preliminary reports on cause expected within 10 days. Oklahoma approves nation's first publicly funded religious charter school, setting up a likely legal challenge over the separation of church and state. The school, St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual School, provides online courses. I would hope with being a virtual school it provided online courses. Former Vice President Mike Pence files paperwork to join the 2024 presidential race. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie expected to announce candidacy today. And then a scholar and activist Cornel West announces third-party bid also. I also saw that one of the candidates was on The View. That's pretty crazy for a Republican candidate to be on The View. Sounded like he did a really good job. I think that was Tim Scott. And just, we hopefully will get into that later also. In depth, looks like Mark Dent is in the lab trying to quiet the noise from pickleball. Pickleball is a surprisingly loud sport, I guess. That swak sound that you get from hitting a empty ball, kind of like a tennis ball, racquetball mix type deal. And then you've got a big old paddle, so it gets that whole rubbery hit on the full side. It's not kind of tennis. If you're a professional, you might get that sound, but most of the time you don't hear that nice clicking swak sound. So through the that's kind of our through the headlines today. As I was going through, there's a few that stuck out to me. Obviously, I want to talk about James Beard Awards. Let me bring that one up here. All right. The red carpet event at the Lyric Opera House in Chicago. James Beard Awards, they honor restaurants and chefs in categories like Best New Chef, Emerging Chef, and Regional Best Chef categories. The awards are among the highest honors of American restaurant industry. The ceremony was co-hosted by Eric Ajapong, Esther Choi, and Gail Simmons and Andrew Zimmerman. Those are kind of the acolytes of the restaurant industry right now, kind of the Emeril Lagasse's and Bobby Flay's of the industry. So big names were out. Some of the highlights from the national categories. This is, I guess, the national setup. Gregory Gardet, Khan in Portland. His restaurant Khan in Portland won Best New Restaurant. Chad Williams, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we talked about in Philadelphia, won Outstanding Restaurant. It was a good night for Philly. National category, in the national categories, Ellen Yin was named Outstanding Restaurateur for her work leading High Street Hospitality Group. Damar Brown, Virtue in Chicago, took home the win for Emerging Chef, and Rob Ruba of Oyster, Washington, D.C. won Outstanding Chef. After 5 nominations, Margarita Mansk of acclaimed L.A. restaurant Republic won Outstanding Pastry Chef or Baker. Yoli Tortilleria in Kansas City, Missouri, won the first ever Outstanding Bakery Award. On the beverage side, Otato in Los Angeles took home the newly expanded award for Outstanding Wine and Other Beverages program for its sake list. That is something I've never really gotten into, is sake. While Bar Leather Apron in Honolulu won for the Outstanding Bar. There's a bunch for regional categories. That's why I kind of said it sounded like it was the East region and not the actual full-on national James Beard Award, because they do have James Beard Foundation awards all over the country, kind of. Each region has it, and they break it down. So kind of from that, you got regional categories. You got Natalia Viejo of Cochino El Fondo in San Juan, became the first James Beard Award winner from Puerto Rico, with her win in Best Chef South. Sherry Pocket of Sly Fox Den 2 in Charlestown, Rhode Island, became the first Indigenous woman to win a James Beard Award. Inclusion right here. That's you can't if you can't trust food to bring inclusion, you can't trust anything. With her win in the Best Chef category, Northeast category, which is kind of be semi to where I'm at, Northeast, Midwest, Chris Kamori of Kin won the best chef mountain category, a first for Idaho. Oh no, sorry, the Rhode Island one was the best chef Northeast category. So first for an Idaho member, the best chef Southwest winner, Andrew Black of Oklahoma City's gray sweater. Normally you would think that would come from someone in LA or something like that. Took the first medal for his state also. So Oklahoma's never won one. So I guess there was some drama in the weeks leading up to the event. At least one chef had been disqualified. Timothy Hontus from the Best Chef South category was taken out after revealing his disqualification. At least one committee member and one voting judge have resigned over the foundation's handling of the communication around that. The foundation's overall approach to addressing the ongoing conversation around the award was mostly to address it obliquely. Today is not about the negative, said co-host Gail Simmons at the top of the show. It's about celebrating the chefs in the industry, which we get into the media so much where all we see or all we report or all they report is the negatives of, what's going on and what happened. And so we can get caught up kind of in that where it's just all of the negative stuff. So I kind of appreciate that, we didn't get caught up in the negative of this is where we're at. And she just kind of, blew it off to this is where we're at today. With all of that is in the past, and all of the negativity can see us some other day. So, something else that we didn't talk about yet. There has been a big trend in shoplifting in stores in the U.S. And there was a big article this week about 2 Lululemon employees that were fired for confronting shoplifters. It's kind of sparked a lot of discussion on, risk reward. And so the CEO, Calvin McDonald, doubled down on his decision, citing the store's strict safety first, no interference policy. And his quote is, it's only merchandise at the end. Clarifying that employees may call the police, but should not step in and let the cameras gather the evidence. So, I mean, this is something that I worked in security when I was a lot younger. And just, that was something that they showed us some techniques on how to subdue a person, but they said in the end, all they wanted us to do was kind of observe and report. If you could, kind of be in a safe area and report what's going on, make sure that you're, obviously calling the police and reporting like that was what they wanted us to do over, going and attacking a person with a gun or without a gun. If we just saw people that were willing, I mean, this was a warehouse, so if someone was randomly carrying a bumper out of the, out of the bays or something like that, then we really weren't supposed to do a whole lot. You could say, hey, what are you doing? Or something, like confront them that way, but you couldn't really, physically, you were not supposed to confront them. And if they just said they were leaving, then we just let them leave and stuff. You just kind of let it go. It's not like some of the armed security or Wild West stuff, or the old Best Buy deal where you grabbed them and threw them in a room and interrogated them for hours until they admitted what they did and coughed up all of their money or the merchandise or whatever. So, part of this also, part of the article that I was reading was also interesting, and it talks about shoplifting is on the rise, and then it says dot dot dot, or is it? And so it was kind of funny. It says that they've seen a lot of articles saying how much more that the shoplifting is, but then in the retail market, shrinkage has pretty much stayed pretty level. Shrinkage refers to loss of inventory. Basically, it's any time that you lose inventory, whether you can explain it or not. So if like in a grocery store, it could be that you lost inventory because it went bad. It could be because someone stole it. It could be because somebody walked around the store eating it, which I would consider also stealing it. It could be that you had an employee appreciation day and you used it for the employees. Whatever that is, that's called shrinkage. And they said, per the National Retail Federation's annual survey, retailers saw an average shrink rate of 1.4%. And that accounts for $94.5 billion in losses. But the shrinkage has pretty much consistently hit that 1.4% for the last 10 plus years. So it's kind of, they say, oh, it's 1.4% shrinkage. And then this article says, yet retailers cited a 26.5% increase on the average in organized retail crime. So that's like professional shoplifters, those guys that are like, all right, we've got 3 minutes. You go this way, and grab this, grab that, and all 8 of us will leave at the same time and spread out. And actually, it's just people who basically steal to resell things. So if you're buying gift cards on eBay or on Facebook Marketplace or something like that at 20% off, there's probably shoplifted or something like that. And then everybody's out there to make a buck. You're not getting a cheaper gift card because somebody's out there just decided to take the hit, needed the money. So, but they claim that 80% claimed an increase in violent or aggressive incidences. In the San Francisco Central District, larceny theft was up 88% in 2021 compared to 2020 when stores were closed for months. So obviously you weren't getting as much theft because they were closed, although they may not have claimed all of the break-ins and looting and stuff like that as larceny or anything like that. That may have been more of they would have considered it on the insurance, maybe as an act of God or something like that. I don't know. I am not an insurance claim adjuster or anything. The Atlantic a couple of the people that were trying the retailers try to keep all of this information pretty tight to the vest. So essentially, it's kind of hard to figure out what exactly is increased or if it hasn't or what's going on. Obviously with phones and stuff like that, we've seen more of the incidences in public spaces and stuff like that. And then we've also seen that it's become more brazen to do those because people have used their phones to show it off. But anyhow, with this, part of the numbers are 1.4% consistently. It doesn't tell the whole story, because basically with that, over the last 10 and a half years or 10 plus years, I would think that the industry has risen from, if 1.4% is 94 billion, that means the industry itself is somewhere around $9 trillion. And so if the industry started out 10 years ago at, say, it was only $900 billion, and now it's up to $9 trillion, that's a lot of, like, over the 10-year span, that's 1,000% up, raise in the actual economy of that, or gross national or gross product. And so for it to go up to stay at 1.4%, one, it means that they haven't really seen a huge uptick in shrinkage, other than maybe they're actually doing a better job of taking care of the items that are being lost before they're stolen. And so the inventory controls and stuff like that, with computer systems and things taking over inventory, maybe they're seeing a better inventory setup, where the theft or larceny or whatever you want to call it, that shrinkage is just, being kind of reappropriated to theft, instead of just losing it because it's a 1 or a 2 on a paper and you can't figure out whether it's a 1, a 7, or whatever else. So maybe that's part of it, is that because of the rise in inflation and things of that nature, that's taken those things up a little level. So that's kind of that was kind of what I saw on that. It was kind of an interesting deal. These VR goggles that they're getting from Apple that are coming out, they look pretty cool. They have a couple features that your regular VR goggles don't. They have an augmented reality goggle. They kind of look like if you were to go skiing or snowboarding or something. It's kind of that kind of goggle, just a big old honking thing on your head, but you can see through it. So it would actually, like, if you were walking down the street, you could use them while walking down the street, and it would show different things. Kind of, so if you were playing Pokemon Go or something like that, your Pokemon would jump out of different areas and stuff like that at you. And so then when you threw your balls and stuff like that at it, it would you would see it in real time on the screen. It kind of looked like it was on the screen in front of you. On the street. And so that would be kind of cool, I guess. I think that takes, if you're texting or whatever and walking, we've all seen the video of the bear walking down the alleyway, and the man with his phone walking down the alleyway and basically almost running into each other. But that just, distracted walking or distracted driving, that, I know if you do these VR goggles or augmented reality goggles, someone's going to try to do it while they're driving. And so that seems like a major safety risk. But, again, natural selection will play its part, no matter how technologically advanced you are. There are still going to be those who are not able to use technology without doing away with themselves accidentally. So as sad as it is, as we lose people, technology and natural selection is a life and natural process of the circle of life. So maybe this just adds another level. And me and Jay Boots were talking on the in text the other day about I don't understand how we can how we've survived our lives. With everybody, everything's an issue. Everything's gonna cause cancer. Everything's gonna kill you, take your eye out, or blow you up, or somehow end your life, and or injure you. And somehow we made it through just fine. And we were joking that the Pokemon Go app was. It was a sunny day out, and it was asking me if I was okay, if I was in a safe space. And I was like, yeah, it's sunny. I haven't been burnt to death yet or anything. And, we were joking about the rule was, don't drink from the hose or play in the creek. And I told him, I said, my rule was don't break anything, and don't punch your brother in the face. Nothing nothing where the doctors or the public can see. And everything below clothing line is fair game. But when it comes to getting the child corrective custody or child custody people out there, then we've gone too far. So it's one of those lines that probably you won't get to because the line is so far away from you. But you do know that there is that line, and if you get to that line, you've gone too far. So another article I saw that was interesting, or not really interesting, but just kind of a funny ha-ha. The Barbie movie, because it used so much fluorescent pink paint, it impacted the fluorescent pink paint supply, and for a few days or weeks, it was on short supply. So there was not enough fluorescent pink paint to go around. And, if you like fluorescent pink paint, that is your movie. So, super exciting. Let me go to the emails and see if I've got anything in there for us to look at. Still, again, we just got this brand new website. It's got all of our information on it, videos. We've been posting on our YouTube page and Facebook page. Also, we have a Twitch page that you can see the video live and in person. You can check out what the chef looks like. Again, I apologize in advance for you going and checking that out with the face for radio and body to match. Round is a shape, and I'm well in that shape. So, otherwise, if you have articles or news that you want us to read or check out on the podcast, you can always send us an email at info@freestylecreativegroup.com or at whyamangry@gmail.com or whyamangrypodcast@gmail.com. So we're always on there, checking out emails and things of that nature. A lot of big updates going on to everything that we've got going. Here's one that was interesting that I was just looking through. Southern Poverty Law Center, which brands kind of they just kind of go and hit the hate groups of the 21st century. They label them. They kind of show where they're at. The mass groups of them. They brand kind of everybody as hate mongers that disagree with their agenda and all of their talking points. So it's kind of a broad net here. So they brand Christian conservative organizations as hate groups. They place them on the map with chapters of the Ku Klux Klan. They add a slew of parental right. They just added a slew of parental rights organizations to the hate map for 2022 and labeled them anti-government groups. So schools especially have been on the receiving end of ramped up coordinated hard right attacks, frequently through the guise of parents' rights groups. So the SPLC's Year in Hate and Extremism report claims these groups were in part spurred by the right-wing backlash to COVID-19 public safety measures in schools, but they have grown into anti-student inclusion movement that targets any inclusive curriculum that contains discussion of race, discrimination, and LGBT TQ, didn't add the plus, identities. At the forefront of this mobilization is Moms for Liberty, a Florida-based group with vast connections to the group, or the GOP, that this year the SPLC designated as an extremist group. The report notes that they can be spotted at school board meetings across the country wearing shirts and carrying signs that declare, we do not co-parent with the government. Oh, that's a thing and a half. You got to have the government. The government has got to co-parent your child. I mean, if you don't have the government, you're probably not teaching them the right things. You're not teaching them that, they can be whatever and whoever and whenever they want. The SPLC report does not once mention the left's aggressive promotion of sexualized material for children, so they don't mention MAPS, which is the minor attracted people or persons. And at other venues, it does not mention the drag queen story hour movement or the fact that many of the books which parents demand removed from school libraries include pornographic content. It does not mention how many on the left champion the idea that children should be able to identify with a gender opposite their biological sex or hide that identity from their parents, and even obtain life-altering drugs without parental consent. Instead, it acts as though the parental rights movement emerged in a vacuum of, or worse, is motivated by hatred. So basically, just from that last commentary, like the last paragraph here, like this is not a real report. This is not like real news. This is not like a real, group that is really trying to do anything but propagandize. They're trying to give you the hate message. If you look at their map, the hate groups, there are few and far between around the California area. They are basically concentrated around the, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia area. You've got some around the North and South Carolinas. Florida has become populated with dots. Ohio has a lot of dots in the central and western region. I don't have the interactive map to see what each of these dots are. There is one dot in Alaska, and 3 dots in Hawaii, and 1 dot in Maine, which is interesting. But there's also not as much population in Maine, and Montana has more dots than Maine does. But anyhow, they've gotten to this point where they are. It's just propaganda, and this is what we're doing here on the Why I'm Angry podcast is, we're trying to show you that, if you just went through this and said, Moms for Liberty is labeled a hate group, or an anti-government group, then, and you weren't, you hadn't read into it or hadn't been there, it sounds a little fishy right off the bat, because Moms for Liberty, that doesn't sound like a bad group, but you could think, okay, well, maybe they're a paramilitary group that are, no, they're just a bunch of moms that are wearing t-shirts and holding signs and trying to make sure that their kids aren't, going behind their back, getting surgeries that will change their lives forever, and not letting them, not having a say, or not having an opinion, or being able to shape and mold their children into the right areas and stuff like that. For, it's one thing. I mean, we try to keep our kids from getting tattoos till they're 18 or so. And, they can't without parental consent. And it's, because that's permanent. That ink is permanent. And it really, with science and stuff like that these days, not as permanent as it used to be, but instead we're going to say that it's okay to take hormone changing drugs, and it's okay for our children to make that decision on their own, before they can smoke, drink, drive cars. We're okay with them making life-altering, life-changing decisions that not only, once you start having surgeries, your body is in a constant state of healing, a constant state of fighting. Whatever you put in your body, whatever you did to change your body, your body is now amping itself up every day to fight that. And what's sad about that is that changes the way that your body is able to fight other things. So if you would normally get you get the common cold or whatever, sometimes if you've built up enough immunity, you can fight that off, and you get, like for a day or so, or you get a little under the weather, sniffles or something like that, which has been, honestly, for me, who is now pulled back from society and is now doing, a podcast in his man cave studio. It's honestly, it's helped me to build that, that I'm not fighting all of these sicknesses all the time, and I'm not, getting all of that. Not that I don't participate in society and stuff like that, but, I'm not also, just touching everything around the world and dealing with 300 or 400 people a day, trying to, do trainings and stuff like that. And just, the normal, the normal interactions that you have with, as a trainer or a public figure out doing sales and things of that nature. So, but, not only does it do all of that, but me and my wife had a discussion, and there's been a lot of what is a woman, what is a man, what is it, and there was an article or a Twitter thread that I saw where a guy comes out and says, just because Dylan Mulvaney, did all of that, is he a woman? And everybody's like, yes, you're a bigot, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't even say no or not, or yes or no. He just posted the question. And I'm sure, the question is based on, they're reflecting on his stance on things, and he's probably said other things, and I don't even remember who it was or whatever to cite it. But, there was even a couple OBGYNs that commented, yes, he's a woman. Well, here's the bottom line. Does he still have the Y chromosome? Did they take that out of him? Does he, there are only 2 chromosomes, X and Y, and the male has an X and Y chromosome. If he still has the Y chromosome, he's not changed. He is not a biological woman. You can add all of the things you want to him. You can cut and snip and add prosthetics and stuff like that, and he can look like it. But it's like Halloween. I can dress up like Superman and suck and tip and tuck, and they can add muscles to my arms and everything like that. I can't fly. I don't have laser vision. I don't have frost breath. I'm not Superman. I'm definitely probably not even Clark Kent. But doesn't have the Y chromosome. Until you can genetically go in and change that, which I'm sure they're trying to do right now. Mark my words right now that they are definitely in the process of bioengineering you, being able to change your DNA and your chromosomes so that you are, so that you don't have the Y chromosome anymore. As a man trying to be a woman, you have 2 X chromosomes, and that's it. So, if you want to get into it, we want to argue about those things. Unfortunately, I'm sure that will put me on the hate groups list. The Why I'm Angry podcast can be on a hate group list, I guess. But, we just got to be able to look through all of the propaganda, all of the things that, people are, we can't take anything that people say as the God's honest truth. Make sure that you're looking it up for yourself. Make sure that you're getting the information. And unfortunately, there is no I can go to this one place and I know that I'm getting the true information on the news and stuff like that. So what you kind of have to do is, go to the places you trust and then go around, kind of look around those places and make sure that you kind of vet that out. Because it's, no longer is it, CBS News is the greatest, or Fox News is giving me the truth. Or, that Walter Cronkite, he says it the way it is, the more you continue to look at these guys, the more everybody's got an agenda. And honestly, as funny as it is, and they want to talk about microaggressions and unintended racism and things of that nature, and all of that, it's more of, we've got unintended biases. Is that we tend to go with the things that we believe, and we tend to want to fight for those things. And society has taught us that if you're not with us, you're against us. And it's not that it used to be that if you're not with us, you're with us, because we're all Americans. Whether your agenda is different or not, the country has fought for you. And that was enough for people, is that, obviously we've gone through some unfortunate situations as a country and things of that nature. And I think eventually we have to get over it, or we're going to go the opposite way. And, then everyone will have been oppressed at one point or another. And that's fair. It's fair. If everyone has been oppressed, if we end up, everyone's been in slavery and everyone's been in poverty, and everyone, if you think about it, though, it's never said that everyone was rich. Everyone got everything that they wanted. Everyone was, taken care of. It's always that everyone got their just due, and no good deed went unpunished. That everyone went through the bad times. So, yeah. Good stuff. Wish I had had the host to discuss. Just had some major scheduling differences this week, and so you just got the chef, and we'll be back with everybody else next week. We'll be recording some specials. I know we've got a big one coming up for the 4th of July. We got a Juneteenth special coming up. And just a lot of great things. Check out our website at whyimangry.com. And remember to follow, like, and share us. Subscribe on our social medias. And make sure that if you want to support us, grab some of that merch. We have a support tab where you can give us a financial contribution if you'd like. On our Facebook page, and we're working on getting that onto our website and getting it set up for everyone, so that if you want to keep the Why I'm Angry podcast around, you keep it around and you help us out. I do appreciate it. We don't get very much from the few sponsored ads that we have on our site, and we're working on getting that better, but that just takes more views and more downloads and watches and all of that stuff. So we're working on it on our side. I appreciate everyone who watches and listens. Remember, if you have an article or you want to send us a message, whyimangrypodcast@gmail.com. It's a great spot to send your information. Send us a link to an article, or shoot us a message. Throw us a line on Twitter at whyimangrypodc. Or shoot us at Facebook at Why I'm Angry Podcast. So with that, we are out. Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcasts. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.